Oh, praises to Haya, Ashur Haya, Bashim, Yeshaya, Walk, Dash Walk. This is Shabar Israel, and we're going to continue on with the second segment of the prophets and teachers that steal the Most High's words, false prophets, prophetess, men and women that steal his words and think that there is not a judgment for it. And it got to the point where the Most High had to change the timing of the Messiah sign. Now, a day to the Most High is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as it's to one day. So when I asked him about the 1 week, I was angry because I already knew. I said, you had to change it, didn't you, Father? He said, yes. 1 week until the Most High is not the same thing if he doesn't want it to be as it is on this earth. In this case, it's not. So he changed it. And he showed me and he told me what it meant, but he did not say I had to publish it yet. So when he told me that, I said, okay, can you answer me through a dream or vision concerning the 1 week for the Messiah's sign to appear? And likewise, he did. So I asked him what would be happening during that time. I had two visions concerning this, but they both were connected. So I appeared at my childhood home, and there came a knock at the door, and it was this false prophet and teacher, Pharisee, scribe, Sanhedrin. He filled the shoes of all of them. And so I began to charge him with the things he have said against me and my child. And this has to do with reference in speaking about the Bible, being a prophetess, associating Numbers 12 and 6 with the word of the Most High when it comes down to prophets and prophetess. And he still was going against me concerning this. He had brought his whole congregation in my childhood home. When they finally realized that he was guilty, I asked them to leave. Likewise, they did. But as I turned my back and I was leading people out of the house, he didn't leave the house. And he had locked me out of my own house when I tried to get back in. There was a woman there. She was very distinct, and she gave me a key to get back inside of the house. So I got back inside of the house, and I confronted him. And by that time, my father, my earthly father, or my dad, was in the house. He was in the kitchen, and he began to confront him. And then it ended, and I woke up, then I fell asleep, and part 2 began. But before I fell back asleep, I asked the Most High, what was the timing of these particular events, and how does this apply to the Messiah's sign? And he answered me in part 2. Part 2 begins with me back inside of the house, and the false prophet and teacher was there as well, and this time it was no breath in him like the other visions. And he took out a brownish book, and it had one word written on it, and it was this word, Aphesis, and it means to release from bondage or imprisonment. You see that? Forgiveness, pardon of sins. I knew it was a Greek word, and it means also remission, deliverance. You see that? Freedom. And it was written in this book. Now, where have we seen that word remissions of sin, or that phrase? If we go to Matthew 26 and 28, it states, well, before I start, this whole chapter has to do with the Messiah's Last Supper, his Passover, and everything leading up to his crucifixion. And I never seen this word before. I'm not fluent in Greek or Hebrew. So this is definitely a huge revelation to me. Now, this is what Yeshua stated here in Matthew 26 and 28. For this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many for the remissions of sin. And it means, now this is in Greek as well, forgiveness. deliverance, liberty, remission. You see that? Now let's go to the book of 1 Chronicles 24, starting at the 6th verse. And it states that, I'm just going to paraphrase here, that these are the Levites and these are the priests. You see that? This has to do with the Levitical priesthood. And we know that Yeshua, his mother, was from the tribe of Levi, and his father was from the tribe of Judah. So he is the high priest after the order of Melchizedek. He is the high priest. Also, in the book of Isaiah, it states that 11, he's going to sit on the throne of David. So let's go down to the 15th verse. And it states, the 17th to Hezer, the 18th to Aphesis. You see that? Spelled slightly different, but it means also in Hebrew to break. You see that? To break. A priest of David. You see that? He was a priest of David. So I received wisdom, instruction, and understanding concerning the Messiah's sign, the 1 week, and the timing of events surrounding his sign. Now, as far as the false prophet and teacher goes, those things, well, some of those things, accusations of him, have already come to pass. One thing I cannot stand is a coward. He's a false prophet. He's a coward that denies the crucified Christ, the Messiah, my husband. He has stolen the words from all three of them that sits on the throne in heaven. He has laughed, mocked, and scoffed at me and my son, and through the mouth of babes, Yeshua Christ said he has perfected praise. By 1 or 2 or more witnesses shall the word of the Most High be established here on this earth. Me and my child, we got off our behinds and moved with a purpose like Noah. And what did this false prophet and teacher do and his congregation do? They laughed. And I'm talking about the GOCC false prophets, stealing the Most High's words. And now the Most High wants you to know, GOCC, recall that he knows you stole his words. Just because you didn't identify me by name, he still sees all. Just like some of the prophetic messages he told me to speak and you stole recently here, the measuring line, and you're still stealing. You think he wasn't watching you. It's time to pay the cost, boss. The Most High is going to hang him by his own words. That's why he was able to speak in this particular vision. Judgment is coming. It wasn't, I thought it was 5 moons to judgment, 5 months, but it's the 5 years. See, the Most High don't tell me everything until he sends chokmah or wisdom to labor with you. If you found worthy, because she would not dwell with you. A body that's riddled with sin or deceit. The woman that handed me the key was wisdom, was chokmah herself. She crieth in the street, but no man taketh her hand, but she's the key. As it states in the book of the wisdom of Solomon, the earth is going to have to be reformed through her. You can't lock her out. The Most High is wise. Chokmah, she sits in the council of the Most High, and she handed me the key to get back inside of the house. Now, this house, I was a child, so it didn't belong to me. It belonged to my father's. It was the key to my father's house. Do you understand me? You can't lock me out of my father's house. The Most High is wise. And so, at the end, because the Most High is going to eradicate, the Most High is going to eliminate these false prophets and teachers. Through what? Aphesis. to break bondage. And how do I know this? I have seen Yeshaya breaking the yoke. You can watch my videos, The Man of Stars, the constellation Remu, or Taurus in the Greek. He's going to release our necks from under their yokes. You see that? Through the only begotten of the Father, the death, burial, and resurrection of the crucified Christ, whose sign is going to appear upon this break of Aphses, of bondage, remission in the face of all unbelievers, Hebrews and Gentiles. So this is the whole conclusion of the matter. Judgment is about to be on these false prophets that stole the Most High's words, laughed and scoffed and mocked at his prophetess, but stole his words. You see that? From her. With that being said, those who have an ear, let them hear what the Spirit is saying. Chicago will be the first to fall. Jamestown, Virginia, the last standing. And as always, watch ye therefore and pray always, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man. For as lightning cometh out of the east unto the west, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. And the deliverance and the Aphesis of the remnant of the children of Israel, and his sign will soon appear in the sky for all to see. And for those who refuse to take part in the tree of life and to drink from the fountains of living water, let them be unjust still. And the bride say, come, and the wife say, come, and the Spirit say, come, Yeshaya come, thy kingdom come. Amen.